Should you be using live streaming in your business? We're going to talk about it today on Coach's Corner. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Today's episode is episode number 28. Should you use live streaming video? Coach's Corner is sponsored by the Marketing Network, profitable marketing training for business owners who want to get results fast. Visit us online at www.themarketingnetwork.tv. Use offer code COACH at checkout and save 25% on your subscription. Hello everyone, Robert Imbriale here. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner. I'm real excited to have you here. I did something fun this week. We got Coach's Corner on all the different podcast applications. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you want to be. From iTunes to Stitcher to TuneIn, even Google Play. We're on all of them now. Most of them on audio only, but on iTunes you can choose between audio and video. We're both there. Both versions of the podcast are there. And I encourage you, if you haven't already, certainly go ahead and subscribe because we're going to be giving you some great content over the course of the time that I'm doing this podcast. It's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy getting to spend some time with you. And today we're going to be talking about a fun topic, a topic that comes up a lot. And I have to confess, I'm a little bit of an advocate of live streaming video. Of course, I do a lot of it. And I have been doing it. I started doing live streaming video back in 2004, if you can believe it. And really, it made a huge difference to my client base. And I'll give you the quick story here. I won't go into a lot of detail. But I was teaching a group of entrepreneurs how to become more successful in their business, something called the Millionaire Club back then. And I was doing it every Monday at 4 o'clock, and I was doing Pacific time, right? And I was doing it on the telephone, and they were hearing the content and they were enjoying it. And it was good interaction. It wasn't terrible. And then along came this idea that we could do something with Macromedia Breeze, the first software ever that I found that allowed you to do live streaming video. Now the video wasn't anything like it is today. It was a little postage stamp, right? And it would stutter, and it would look a little bit like Max Headroom sometimes, depending on the day, depending on the connection. But what I found was there was a dramatic difference in the relationship I had with those people. Now, it wasn't bidirectional, right? It was very much me coming on here and being able to deliver content, and they would be able to watch me, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't hear them. But what I did is I installed a chat room, so there was a feedback loop all of a sudden. It changed the dynamic, and I thought, wow, this is really the future. Live streaming video obviously is going to change everything. And I went along that way, and I said, boy, this is it. This is going to be the biggest thing ever. And I got real excited. And, when you get excited about something, you kind of don't see the downside of it. But there are literally some businesses that probably shouldn't be using live streaming video. It's not for everybody. We like to think it is. I mean, that's what we do. We come here and we think, oh, live streaming video, everyone will get a kick out of this. This will be the greatest thing ever. But I think the truth of the matter is there are some businesses where it doesn't make any sense. And we're going to talk about that today. But before I get there, I want to give you a quick story. I was in the computer industry back in 1980. I got my hands on a TRS-80 computer, black and white screen, basic computing way back then. 1981. I got my hands on a Commodore 64, the first computer that I actually owned. And I was in college at the time, and I wrote a report in college for my technology class. And basically, the whole report was, soon our lives are going to revolve around a screen. And back then, I thought maybe it was the television screen, because computing was still in its infancy. Nobody had a computer at home, right? It was just sort of this weird thing. Only a few geeky type people had computers at home. And I said, life is going to revolve around this. We're going to be able to order pizza, on this screen. We're going to be able to communicate on this screen. We're going to see face to face. We're going to be able to do video, watch television. And instead of, at the time, 20 channels, 30 channels, whatever cable offered back in the 80s, we're going to have hundreds, thousands, even millions of channels. I don't know how I saw that back in 1981. It's pretty much what happened, but I was wrong about the television screen because it was actually the computer screen that sort of usurped that. And that's really the center of the universe for all of this stuff. So when you look at that and you say, wow, back in 1981, you saw this happening, and here we are, 2017 now, and so much has changed, but the technology is just such a stunning and amazing piece of technology that we're able to have this communication, have this talk. And I'm here in Carlsbad, and you could be anywhere in the world. And I know a lot of people are overseas, and they get to watch this content. It's almost like you're here in my studio with me, right? It's as close to being here as you could possibly get. And it's really a powerful technology. And you think, okay, from a marketing perspective, because marketing's my thing. I love marketing. I love building businesses. I love talking with entrepreneurs. I love working in that industry. And, from that perspective, you think, okay, this is the killer app, right? Because why would you say that? Because in the past, we knew the best kind of selling is face-to-face selling. That's always been the case, right? Next best to that is selling on television. Why? Because you've got the visual, you've got the auditory, you've got the action, you've got the feelings, the emotion, the body language. All of these elements come in versus just having, an audio podcast or just having, text, which is even lower than that. So when you bring the video into it, wow, this becomes a powerful selling tool. And I'm going to give you some things today. I want you to write these down because they're really powerful. There's 4 pieces to this that you need to look at your business. And you need to make the decision from there whether or not live streaming video makes sense for you. Doesn't make sense for everybody. We'd like to think it makes sense for everybody, but it really doesn't. I mean, you look at the landscape today, and these are all these social media networks that pop up all over the place, and you say, my God, how do I choose? Where should I start? And the truth of the matter is you don't start with any of these. This is not where you go. A lot of people go, well, I want to do a YouTube Live, or I want to do a Facebook Live, or I want to get on Periscope or Twitter, or, and that's a lot of people will start there. And I say, that's the wrong place to start. You don't really want to start there. That's not going to give you what you want. Where you need to start is you need to look at what you're offering. Now, I narrow it down and I say, instead of all these different networks, I say, let's focus on a few. Here are the few that I focus on. YouTube, Facebook, obviously being the biggest one, Twitter, and also that orange logo that you're seeing there. A lot of people don't know what that is. RSS feeds, which is podcasting, right? So that's another channel which I highly encourage my customers to play with. Now, I've turned this podcast, this training, I guess you'd call it, into a podcast. Why? Because, like I said, I got the reach on iTunes, both audio and video. I got the reach of Stitcher. I've got the reach of Google Play. I've got the reach on TuneIn Radio, right? How many thousands or millions of people now have access to this content where they don't necessarily need to come to my Facebook page anymore? So it's wide reaching, which is the next best thing to broadcasting in my view. Now, you look at that and you say, wow, that's really powerful. It excites me. I don't know if it excites you as much, but it really does excite me. I get so excited about this. And I say, this is the next best thing. This is what's going to change the fabric of our society. And in many ways, it really has. So now you want to take it to the next step and you want to start looking at your business. You want to say, okay, does this fit for my business? Is this something that I should be using in my business? I'm going to give you a couple of things here today. Like I said, I want you to write them down because a lot of research, a lot of thinking over the years. What I did is I figured out these are the things that make the difference when you are considering using live video. And it's where I go through this with all of my clients when I work with them and they say, really, Rob, I want to do live streaming video. I go through these. And number one thing here, you look at this and you'll start to see it make sense. Is my product or service one that can be demonstrated on camera? If it can't be demonstrated on camera, it is very difficult to use live streaming video. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the infomercial world, and I have been one who has looked a lot at the infomercial world, it's one of the things I did in the 90s, more than anything. I really enjoyed watching television, watching these infomercials, because to me, it was sort of the pinnacle of marketing, right? And what you find in there, they don't even talk to you. If you have a product that can't be demonstrated on camera, they won't even talk to you. Go away, go do something else, go talk somewhere else. If it can't be demonstrated, it's a zero. Well, guess what? All of these live streaming video systems are the same. The really only thing that changes is the channel. The channel by which we're delivering the video. That's really all that's changed. Truthfully, it's the same thing today as it was back in the 80s, right? When we were doing television. It's just a little bit more accessible today, or I should say a lot more accessible today to most people than it was back then. So that's number one. Can it be demonstrated on camera? And, you know, the slicers and dicers are really important products. It's a whole category of products that can very easily be demonstrated on camera, right? You look at the knife and look at that knife and it cuts that tomato just so perfectly. And you cut the garlic and you cut the onions without crying, right? You're demonstrating this stuff. So is your product or service something that can be demonstrated on camera? Yes or no? So that's number one. Now, once you figure that out and you say, yes, it can be demonstrated, then you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to demonstrate it, right? We can do an unboxing. We could, let me show you how it really works. Maybe you do a bunch of different videos in different locations, put it all together, assemble it, and stream that. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So that's sort of the number one thing. The number two thing here we can talk about, because, again, like I said, these are important pieces. Who can come on camera and talk positively about their experiences using your products or services? So what I'm talking about here is live testimonials, right? You want to have your customers come on camera and talk about their experience with you as a coach, you as an author, you as a product developer, your company, your product specific, when I've used the product, here's what happened. I wash my car with it every Sunday and, my car has never looked better, that kind of thing. You want to be able to have those people on camera. And you might say, well, how in the world am I going to do that? That costs a fortune. I need a television crew. I shot video this weekend on the iPhone. This is iPhone 7 Plus, right? I shot video with this thing. It is as good as the cameras I've got in the studio behind me here. The quality is insane, right? It's a 4K camera in here. But you don't need that, right? And the microphone is really good. It's just a little tiny little dot. It's not even a microphone like you're seeing here, right? It's a tiny little dot. But the audio is good enough if you're in a quiet location and you're close enough to the subject where you can get testimonials. So what do you think I tell my clients to do? Anytime customers come and visit your store, visit your shop, or you're at a seminar, or you're at a place where your customers might be, have this handy and be ready to take it out and ask them if they're having a great experience with your product. May I take a short video of you? I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Did you like the product? What was your experience using it? Would you recommend it? Little questions like that, very simple, and you'll get video. Now you can take this video, you can put it up on your website. You can put it up while you're doing live streams. You can insert it right into here. This is a program I'm using right now. One day I'm going to talk about that because I know a lot of people ask, how are you doing these videos? How is it? I'm not editing anything. This is all you're seeing happening here is happening live. And what I want to do is I want to show you how to do that one day. But you can insert video into this system of your testimonials. Here's Judy from, Saratoga, New York. And boom, you click it and, the video plays and you can see her video that you shot on your iPhone or your Android phone. Every phone today has great cameras. More than enough for what you're trying to do because streaming video is only 720. So I'm shooting at 4K on this. I am way over the top. I can really trim that video down and crunch it. I can do a lot of things with it to make it usable online. So who do you have? Make a list of the people who you know who could talk very positively about their experience working with you. As a coach, I go to the clients I've worked with and I say, hey, can we do a video? If we can't do a video over Skype and I can do a screen capture or Zoom or something like that and just record that video, then I'll just do it audio. I'll do it over the telephone. Okay, talk to me over the phone and I'll just record the audio. That is better than nothing, but you got to have it. You got to have something. So who in your universe can talk very positively about their experience working with you? That's a very important thing. Okay, number 3, ready to move on? This is good stuff. Is this good? Are you enjoying this? I'm enjoying it. Let's move on. Number 3, will the viewer learn something new that they did not know before watching your video? Now, what in the world are we talking about here? Will the viewer learn something new? Well, that's a good question to ask, right? Is your video, does it have anything informative about it? So this video that we're doing right here, hopefully you're writing these things down. You're going, ooh, this is a new way to think about live streaming video. Will the viewer learn something new? So it can't be just promotional. It has to be a little bit educational, not a lot educational, not completely educational because you might fill them up too much and may not want your product or service, but will they learn something new while they are watching your video? And the answer has to be yes. They have to learn something new. They have to learn that maybe they need your product and they didn't know you needed their product. They needed your product, right? Or maybe they learned that the problem they thought that couldn't be solved could now be solved with your product. The hour that they spend cutting the lawn, now they buy your lawnmower that's remote controlled and they can sit in a lounge chair with a little controller and drive the lawnmower around the lawn. I saw that last week. It actually exists. So you can do that, and you demonstrate how you regain the time that you may have lost otherwise. By being able to use these tools. So, teach them something. Think about that. Think about at least one element that you need to teach them that they didn't know, because they've got to walk away enriched in some way, right? They come out of a movie. Why do they go to the movie? Because they feel enriched in some way. They feel maybe there was a lesson in the movie. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe it was just simply entertainment. But when they walk out of the theater, they've got a smile from ear to ear. Success. They're not going to ask for the money back, right? They're going to go tell their friends about it. That's really what we're looking for. So when you do a live video, what are you going to teach them? What one thing are they going to walk away knowing that they didn't know before they came on to watch your video? Okay, number 4. This one's a good one. Can you present your products or services in a way that is entertaining. Boring does not sell. Boring is not going to help your business. If you come off as a boring business, people are not going to watch. You know, that old mantra that they watch 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they go away. Well, it's absolutely true. They don't watch very long. So can you present your products or services in a way that's entertaining? And one of the things that I'm doing here is I've got, video switching, and I've got different things happening. So it's not just a talking head for the duration of this podcast episode. I give you a couple of other things going on here, which, makes it interesting. I don't know that it's really entertaining in that way. I don't know that I'm going to sit here and do a song and dance kind of thing for you. But, if I did, maybe I'd lose you. I don't want to do that. I want you to be here. I want you to stay with me. I really enjoy doing this. And I really enjoy the fact that you're here with me as well. Find a way to make it entertaining. Make it funny. Make it different. Put different props behind you. Like I decided I want to do this in the studio. Why? Because, I've got all this stuff here. All this cool stuff. Wouldn't it be nice if you got to see the world that I work in all day, every day? You get to see the studio back there. This is the control room. That computer's got a really cool, screen on it. You get to see a little bit of the things that make my environment fun. So what can you do to make it entertaining? Could be little things, could be big things, could be adding a music track, could be, some people like to have cue cards. They'll hold up Post-it notes, or they'll hold up, signs, or sometimes pictures. You can do things very simply that can make the videos less boring. A lot of people think, I'm going to go in a place that, has a great background. But the problem is sometimes the background's too great and it overwhelms, and then the people don't really get your message because, it's so good to look at what's behind you. They ignore you and they start looking at that. Oh, what's that person doing? Oh, look at that person walking by that fountain over there. And they completely miss your message. So, you can go too far, be entertaining, but don't be over the top with it. And I think you'll do very, very, very well. Okay. I want to give you this piece because a lot of people who are coaches like me, and they wonder, it's like, how can I use live video? I can't demonstrate coaching. Well, actually, you can. And I'm going to tell you how. Now, this is the one that changes everything. When I work with coaches and they say, how am I going to, promote myself using video? Well, you have to think of live video as an audition. Okay. This is an audition. What do I mean by an audition? Well, if you're considering hiring me as your coach, you want to have some sense that I know what I'm talking about, right? You want to have some sense that maybe there's a connection. Maybe you like me. Maybe you don't like me. Maybe, if you don't like me, you're probably not going to hire me. But this is an audition. Not every audition goes and you get hired. You don't get the part every single time, but you got to keep auditioning. You got to keep doing it again and again and again. And when I work with coaches, I suggest to them that they use live streaming video, Facebook Live, Periscope, whatever they feel like doing. YouTube Live's a little bit more complex these days, but use something that will get you out in front of people and you can demonstrate your knowledge, right? So it's not about solving their problems. That's not really what it is. But it's about, here, let me give you an example of a person I worked with 6 months ago who was about to get divorced, yada, yada, whatever the topic is, right? And here's how I helped them handle that situation. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, if you're in a similar situation and you'd like my help, come to, bang, and you put your email address up, or you tell them your email address. It isn't really that difficult to do it. But a lot of coaches don't understand that. If you got to do that audition piece, all your videos need to be auditioning. So even though it's something that can't be quote unquote demonstrated as a thingamajig or, that kind of thing, that something physical, you can still demonstrate your knowledge. And a lot of people who come on live video and they do a great job in demonstrating their knowledge. And by the way, there is a difference here. I'm going to give you this one because this is an important one. A lot of coaches come on and they start telling you, let me tell you 3 ways to overcome depression. Bam, bam, bam. And they put the content out there. Great. Content out of context means nothing. Really? Yeah. Content out of context means nothing. So the content, if you're putting it out there, you say, let me show you 3 ways to overcome your depression, blah, 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 blah. But it's not in context, right? It's not something people can relate to. So you've got to wind that into a story somehow. You got to be able to say, okay, sometimes when you're working, the stress starts to build up, this starts to happen, blah, 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 and you got the story built up. You got this pictures, word picture you're creating, and people are going, yeah, I feel that. I've been in that situation before. Well, here's what can result from that. You could start to feel a little depressed. It's normal. Don't be upset about it. It's normal. Here's some things I have found that work. Now, why do you say I have found? Because we're looking that you're an audition, right? This is an audition. So we don't want to know content you read in a book. We don't want to know about content you learned in somebody's seminar or somebody else has been talking about. We want to know what you have learned and how you personally have helped your clients overcome the situation that you just described earlier in the video. You do that, you're golden. I mean, those kind of videos, then the work really starts, right? Then you say, okay, I've got this great video. What I want to do next is I want to get this video online and I want to let as many people know about this video as possible. So then you start boosting your posts on Facebook. You start posting it in groups. You start inviting people to come and see it. In my case, I decided that podcasting was the way to go to get a lot of exposure. I get some on Facebook. I'll get some when I put this up on YouTube Live. I'll get a lot more when I put it up as a podcast. So it's in all these different places, plus it's also on my website, and all these different places will all add up at the end of the day to large audience watching every time I do this, which makes sense for me to do it because I know that audience is going to be there. Now I make sure that the content is good. So I am auditioning. I'm showing you that I know something about what I've been talking about. I told you in this podcast, for instance, that I've been doing live streaming since 2004. Well, you see that I'm in a studio. You think I might be a person you want to talk to if you want to do live streaming and you're having challenges or you're not quite sure what to say or how to say it. Probably be a good person to call, right? And so I'm sort of auditioning for you in that way and saying, if you want to work with me, if you are a coach, you are a speaker, you're a trainer, and you want to come and do a course for the Marketing Network, you would contact me. And I would say, okay, let's talk about it. Studio's back there. We'll fire up the studio when you're ready, and you'll come into the studio and we'll film your course. We'll put it online and people can purchase it and they can watch it, right? So that's the kind of thing. It's like, so I'm in this environment for a reason. I'm in this environment not just for my own benefit because I really love being here, but also so you can see, yes, that I do this kind of thing. You need to do the same thing as a coach. One of the worst things you can do is shoot in a room that's really dirty and messy. I know a lot of people do that. They pick up the iPhone, you look behind it, and oh my God, the house is a mess. There's clothes strewn everywhere. It's a disaster. All the books are falling off the shelf. Everything's not tidy. And you think, that doesn't matter. All they're here for is for the content. But it does matter because people are looking at you in your environment to find out more about who you are. It's a reflection on your personality. So pay attention to that. Okay, so I hope you're getting value here. I hope you're understanding that live streaming video is a powerful, powerful tool. It can make you a lot of money. It can make you a millionaire, multimillionaire, depending on what you're doing. And by the way, coaches can become millionaires, although a lot of them starve. That's not necessarily required to be a coach. You don't need to starve. You can actually be very successful and make a ton of money doing it. But you got to do it the right way. And live streaming video is a tool. If you've got a product or service, software that you've generated, software is great because you can do screen captures, screen videos, and show them how the software works and what it does. Those are very powerful sales tools as well. So live streaming video could be the killer app for your business. So I want you to give that some thought because it is very, very, very important to look at it from that perspective. At least in my point of view is I really like to look at live streaming video and see how it fits. And there are businesses where it doesn't fit. Honestly, there are businesses where it does not fit. It's not worthwhile doing. It's an effort that's futile. It's not going to generate anything for you. But for the businesses that it works, go for it. Make it happen. It is powerful and powerful and powerful beyond belief in terms of, number one, they're getting to meet you, right? Almost face to face, next best thing to face to face. And, you can get the reach out there that you could not imagine getting maybe just 10 years ago. You couldn't get this kind of reach 10 years ago that you can get today with YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, all these things. And they just reach out. Plus, add the podcast world on top of it. And now you're reaching audiences that measure in the hundreds of millions rather than, 10,000, 5,000, whatever it was back then. Okay, hope you got value from this. If you did, make sure you stop by our Facebook page and give us a like. No, it's a like this way, right? Yeah, like that way. Give us a like. Really do appreciate that. And I want to talk to you now about our sponsor. Our sponsor is the marketingnetwork.tv. And I want to talk to you about a specific interview I did not that long ago with Lisa Rothstein. Lisa Rothstein, amazing mind. I mean, I met this woman probably, I'm going to say maybe 3-4 years ago now. I was blown away by her knowledge, her expertise. She's a former Madison Avenue copywriter, and she was the person behind the jingle back in the 80s. You might remember, "Wait till we get our Hanes on you," for the Hanes Underwear Company, right? She's actually the person who wrote that. So she's got Madison Avenue experience, and she talks a lot about branding and copywriting and that sort of thing. And that's one of the courses that's available for you to watch on the Marketing Network. Let me tell you a little bit more about the Marketing Network, because like I said, I am so excited about this. These are some of the experts that have come on, and I'll get me out of the way so you can see them, because they're more important than me. They are some just amazing people. Like I said, Lisa Rothstein is one, Dr. Roberta Shaler, Debbie Lynn Gray, Shahar Boyayan, Mitch Axelrod, Russ Von Holscher, the godfather of direct mail marketing, stopped by the studio, and we had a great conversation on direct mail marketing and sort of the origins of it and what you can learn from it. Blew me away. Really, really, really great content that he shared in there. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go over to themarketingnetwork.tv, and I'd like you to consider subscribing, just $9.95 a month. It's not really that much money, really cheap to do that. And if you use the offer code COACH, you'll save 25%. So it's like $7 a month. And we're adding new content all the time. Like I said, we got professionals stopping by the studio, and they get an opportunity to sit down for an interview with me. I'm real excited about that. And they get to share some great information, and we're also going to be creating now some new courses that are going to be bigger and really more intense. It'll be 3, 4, 6-hour courses, and that's what we're working on right now is the next upgrade to the Marketing Network, marketingnetwork.tv. I invite you to go have a look there, and I thank them for their support of today's podcast. All right. I want to thank you for listening and being part of this. This has been a lot of fun for me. And remember, if you have a chance, give us a like on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you find this. And if you do like this podcast, please tell your friends about it, because, that's how word gets out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I look forward to talking to you again real soon.